So using the TradingView replay facility, let's have a look at how this works in practice, and you'll get a pretty good idea as to being able to identify when trade setups do appear. Now, scrolling back, you can see that when we see big divergences, nice and symmetrical, increasing in strength. Here's another one here. That's when we see good opportunities. But we'll step through it bar by bar, and we'll see. So, as it stands right now, this is not a big divergence. You can see it's quite weak movement, and generally you'll get this during when we're early in the day's session. So you can see this is market open, so not a lot is happening. Looking at the table, so we can see that the correlated pound basket, its direction is long, its strength is only 2.6, but its correlation is above the 0.5 threshold. So as a result, the background coloring has got this khaki green color. The inversely correlated basket, small strength, small correlation, it's only 0.26 as a result, and the stability is in the medium. It's not reliable. That's that you wouldn't completely forget about it. That's orange is sort of in that middle band. But as a result of all this, because the correlation is not above 0.5, it's got the standard grey background, and in this case, in the synthetic spread, strength is minus 1.3, correlation is below the 0.25 thresholds. As a result, the whole lot is displayed as grey, and really, when you see this, we just discount it. There's no useful information in this at all. All right, so let's have a look at it, candle by candle. All right, this is an example of when the text color changes, in this case to yellow. Why? Our correlation is above the 0.5 threshold, and the strength is above the 5 threshold. As a result, and stability is high as well, incidentally, but as a result, this whole text changes yellow. When we see that, take note of it. But also, we're looking at everything else. So again, that's the correlated basket has some good value in it, saying some useful information. But we look at this at its entirety. The inversely correlated basket, it's grayed out, it's weak, and the synthetic spread is, whilst it's got a plus 0.5 strength, there is very little correlation or stability going on with this basket, so we just ignore it. What we really want to see is all this together. Just mark that out. All of this in its entirety being yellow with high levels of stability. All right, let's get rid of that. And this little one here. All right, let's continue. Okay, now everything is aligned for long setups. But let's look at what's happening. We're starting to see a divergence in the snake. The spread is pointing upwards, but there's no, in all three synthetics, the correlated, inversely correlated, and synthetic spread, the strength is below the threshold. And as a result, we're not really seeing big movement here. And we're not seeing big movement in price action. All right, it's now gone short. Right, here's a good example. So, as you can see, we now have yellow highlighting on both the correlated, inversely correlated, and the synthetic spread. Strength minus 10, minus 8.1, -10, and correlation above the plus 0.5 threshold for correlated instruments and -0.5 for the inversely correlated. So we're looking at shorts. You see a cross in the snake, the synthetic spread is pointing downwards. So this is a potential short setup. Just keep watching it. Notice had a slight retracement here, and we saw that the strength momentarily came back. Let's keep looking. All right, we're now on the 10s for the strength, high correlation, and stability. Even though this is orange, we won't discredit it just yet, but we can see a solid down move. All right, still high strength values, and we can see that this divergence is quite strong. It's symmetrical. It's quite bright in its coloring. So this is a down move. And the synthetic spread is also pointing down quite strongly. That's reflected by the -9.8. And it accelerates. Again, strength, correlation, and stability is still acceptable, but -10s across the board, high correlation, expanding or diverging snake, and synthetic spread still coming down. All right, slight retracement here. We've seen that whilst with the previous candle we're at 10s, we no longer are. And you also see that the inversely correlated basket is no longer highlighted yellow because the strength is less than -0.5. So if we were in this trade, we might start thinking about maybe that's enough. Again, watch what's happening here. You can see that the whole lot is starting to weaken where we had 10s 2 candles ago, -6.3, -0.6 and 4.5. Correlation's still quite high. That's good. What that's saying is that even though this whole downward move is weakening, we can trust what the baskets are telling us, that this is in fact correct. Also notice that the synthetic spread has started to flatten out. Again, as I mentioned, this gives us data at the moment. Let's draw this out. This here gives us an historical sense, or it gives us the historical story of what has happened. Not quite as bright in this gradient here, and we've had this slight retracement. That's okay. We'll keep going, see what's happening. Right, so clearly that downward move is over. We've now seen the direction turn long for everything. It's not, there's no real strength in it yet. The strength values are still quite low, but we do have, let's get rid of this circle here. But we do have strong correlation, which means that we can trust what's happening here, that the correlation is correct. There's just no strength. So what we're seeing here is what we do want to see as far as the baskets are giving us correct information. It's just no movement. So get rid of that. And you can see it's not quite, the color is less intense. Synthetic spread has turned around. All right, this might be a long move. See, yellows across the board. Strength in each case is above +5, and the correlation is above 0.5. In a slight up move, notice that the synthetic spread is coming up. All right. Now, you will get retracements in candles sometimes. Okay, remember that the correlated baskets are not in fact looking at the pound US dollar. It's made up of instruments which are not the pound US dollar. So you will still get retracements or movements that go against the flow that we're seeing. That's okay. Note we've got a cross of the snake. Spread still coming up. We're all yellow still. And off we go. Off to the races. So you can see that when you see this kind of thing, now you will see these numbers come up and down through the movement. That's to be expected. But even with variance in price through that upward move, the synthetic spread has remained constant in its upward direction. Let's keep going. Let's keep going until it stops. Right. Now, as you notice, as this price comes up, the initial move, you're very early in the move. When you see tens across the board here, like we saw earlier, for the strength, that's great. That means we've got strong momentum behind us that this will likely keep pushing. But a trend cannot last forever. And as you saw it go up, you'll see the strength values start to retrace, weaken, or retrace, weaken at some point, because the trend can't go forever. So along with that, we've seen a nice clean move in the synthetic spread, but now it's started to flatten out, turn around. We'll also notice that the snake has also become less intense in color. So we can see early on with this move, that area here, that was when we saw over in the table, the strength was in very high values. Let's get rid of that. Right. Now we're in a downward move. Would you take that straight away? Not really. Why would you? You've had a fantastic move upwards. If you took this whole trade, that would have been a very profitable trade. And again, this will come down to, and we'll discuss this later. Trading psychology is over trading is a very dangerous thing. You know, we would have made some really nice profit. The last thing you want to do is be impulsive and start handing your profits back. But that's not the point of this discussion. Let's just keep watching the table and interactions between the table, the synthetic spread, and the snake. All right, let's just let this run. Might increase the speed on this. Another upward move. Upward move, you might have noticed back here where it's strong strength. The move has stopped. Synthetic spread has turned around. Price has shot back up. Wow. Long movement. Coming off. Strong strength. As a result, price has come off. Synthetic spread has come back down at the top of this move. We'll just maybe put a vertical line here about this point. And as you can see, synthetic spread at this peak, synthetic spread comes off. All right. So as you can see, there were multiple trading opportunities that you could have taken by way of observing the table that the snake and the synthetic spread. So yeah, I just encourage you, put this on your chart, have a play with it yourself, and you'll get, as I said earlier, a good idea of when you have strong trade setups based on the pitch that you're seeing with the snake, with the synthetic spread, with the values of strength, correlation, stability, with the background coloring, and particularly when you see the label color changes. So yeah, have a play with that, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video.